If you're a man over 60, I need to ask you something serious. What do you usually do right after ejaculating? Because if you're doing this one thing, and most men do, you could be quietly damaging your prostate every single time. It might feel harmless, but it's not. And if you keep repeating it, the damage builds up until one day it shows up as urgency dribbling or worse. So stick around. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through what not to do after ejaculation and what to do instead to protect your prostate, your confidence, and your future. If you've ever felt pressure burning or discomfort down there after sex or solo time, or if this topic genuinely matters to you, don't hesitate to drop a 1 in the comments. And if you want to stay ahead of problems most men ignore, hit subscribe right now. Now, let's get into it. So, what's really going on inside your body right after ejaculation, especially if you're over 60? Let's peel back the curtain and look at what most men never even think about. During ejaculation, your prostate gland contracts powerfully to push semen through the urethra. This muscular contraction isn't just a mechanical act, it triggers a cascade of physiological changes throughout your pelvic region. Tiny blood vessels dilate rapidly to handle this sudden demand. Your nervous system floods your body with a cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin, and prolactin. And as all this happens, your pelvic floor and surrounding tissues, especially the prostate, go from being active and tense to suddenly relaxed and depleted. And that brings us to something most men have never heard of, but it's critical: the refractory phase. This is the reset window that happens right after ejaculation. In your younger years, this period might last a few minutes, but as you age, especially past 60, this phase stretches out. It's longer and more vulnerable. Why? Because aging reduces your blood flow, weakens tissue elasticity, and slows down cellular repair. So now your prostate, having just worked hard to release fluid, is left in a state of congestion. Think of it like this: it's just finished a full sprint, but instead of walking it off and letting the blood circulate out, it's suddenly forced to sit in traffic. Now, here's where it gets serious. A study published in the Journal of Urology found that men over 60 experience up to a 20% drop in blood flow to the prostate immediately after ejaculation. That may not sound huge, but in a tissue that's already prone to inflammation, enlargement, and reduced elasticity, this drop can significantly impair the body's ability to clear out micro damage. What does that mean for you? It means that if you're making the wrong move right after ejaculating, sitting too long, applying cold forcing, a bathroom trip, you're disrupting a delicate recovery process that your body now needs more than ever. This moment, these first 5 to 10 minutes post ejaculation, isn't just downtime. It's not just afterglow. It's a fragile phase where your actions can either support your prostate's recovery or quietly set it up for long term dysfunction. Inflammation, stiffness, poor drainage, or cellular stress, these don't start overnight. They build one careless habit at a time. And sadly, most men never connect the dots until they're waking up twice a night. 2p, feeling discomfort during intimacy, or being told they need medication for BPH. But now you know. Now the dots are being connected. And once you understand what's happening on the inside, you'll realize just how critical it is to get the after moment right, because your prostate is paying attention even when you're not. And now that we understand just how vulnerable your prostate is in those few minutes after ejaculation, it's time to talk about the real danger, what you actually do in that moment. Because most men, without realizing it, go straight into habits that quietly undo everything their body is trying to heal. So let's break down the 5 most common mistakes men make after ejaculating. You may be doing one or even all of them without a second thought. Let's start with what seems like the most harmless of all: just sitting down. Maybe you're watching TV, scrolling your phone, or even taking a nap. But here's the problem: sitting completely still, especially on a hard surface right after ejaculation, is one of the worst things you can do for your prostate. Why? Because after the gland contracts to expel, semen blood pools in the pelvic region. And if you sit down on a firm chair, couch, or car seat without moving, you're adding mechanical pressure to that congestion. This restricts circulation, delays drainage, and causes blood to stagnate in the prostate's tiny capillaries. Over time, that pooling effect can lead to microswelling, inflammation, and even low-grade infection. It's not just a theory. Clinical data shows that men who remain sedentary for more than an hour post ejaculation have up to 30% higher risk of developing chronic prostatitis symptoms. Think about how common this is. You finish cleanup, grab a snack, and plop down to relax, except your prostate never gets the chance to recover. The fix. It's simple. After climax, stand up, walk around lightly for 3 to 5 minutes, or lie down on your side if you're resting. Just don't trap your pelvic floor in a pressure zone. Give your body the circulation it needs to heal. Now, mistake number two, and this one is especially common among men trying to feel refreshed or cool off quickly, is jumping into a cold shower right after ejaculation. I know it sounds invigorating, but physiologically, it's the equivalent of slamming on the brakes during a high speed turn. When you expose your body to cold water, your blood vessels constrict sharply. And when that happens in your pelvic region right after a major vascular event like ejaculation, it disrupts blood flow, traps inflammatory byproducts inside the prostate, and interrupts tissue recovery. Many men think a cold shower helps them reset or calm down. But for aging bodies, especially over 60, the effect is often the opposite: pelvic discomfort, nighttime urination, or even increased urgency the next day. It gets worse at night. If you ejaculate in the evening and then follow it with a cold rinse, the drop in core temperature and local blood flow can increase your risk of nocturia, waking up to pee multiple times. So, what should you do instead? Wait, give your body 10 to 15 minutes to stabilize. Then take a warm, gentle shower, not scalding, just mildly warm, to support relaxation and circulation. Remember, this is not about avoiding a pleasure, it's about respecting recovery. And now we come to a sneaky one: eating spicy or greasy foods right after ejaculation. I get it, sometimes after intimacy or solo time you want a treat. Maybe it's hot wings, pepperoni pizza, or something deep fried. But here's the thing: in that vulnerable post ejaculation phase, your body is processing not just hormones, but inflammation. Spicy fatty foods are inflammatory by nature. They increase systemic inflammation markers, disrupt digestion, and trigger low grade irritation across the body, including the prostate. It's not just theoretical. One study found that men who frequently consumed spicy or high fat meals after intercourse had nearly double the rate of recurring prostatitis flare ups. That's not about calories, that's about chemistry. Your prostate doesn't care how good the food tastes. It cares whether it can heal without being bathed in inflammatory signals from your gut. So, what can you do? Instead, keep it light and anti inflammatory. Reach for a small bowl of berries, a handful of unsalted nuts or plain Greek yogurt. Even a glass of water with lemon is better than a double cheeseburger. And if you really want a full meal, give your body at least 30 to 45 minutes before eating heavily. Let it finish one recovery job before starting another. Now, here's a mistake that surprises a lot of men because it sounds like the right thing to do: urinating immediately after ejaculation. It's often seen as a way to flush things out or clean the pipes, especially to prevent infection. But the truth is, forcing yourself to urinate too soon can backfire, especially as you get older. Why? Because right after ejaculation, your pelvic muscles, including the bladder, neck, and prostate, are still in a contracted or semi contracted state. They're in transition. The internal sphincters are confused, some still engaged, some trying to relax. Forcing urine through at this moment can create an unnatural pressure dynamic. You're essentially asking your body to push when it's not fully ready to release. Over time, this can contribute to that frustrating feeling of incomplete urination, dribbling, or even burning that shows up hours later. Sound familiar? Many men over 60 report feeling like they can't fully empty their bladder, or that urination stings slightly after intimacy, and they never make the connection to timing. It's not always infection. It's often poor coordination between the prostate, bladder, and pelvic floor. The fix here is refreshingly simple: wait. Give your body 10 to 15 minutes to reset. Let your pelvic floor return to baseline. Let the sphincters coordinate naturally again. You'll find that urinating becomes smoother, more complete, and far less irritating. There's no gold medal for being the fastest to the toilet. There's only your long-term comfort and prostate health. And now we come to one of the most dangerous yet common habits of all, one that men do to unwind after sex or solo time, but that silently sabotages their recovery: reaching for alcohol, caffeine, or a cigarette right after ejaculation. Let's be honest, how many times have you poured a glass of wine, lit up a cigar, or downed a strong coffee as a way to cap off the moment? It feels good, it feels relaxing, but inside your body, it's triggering a cascade of vascular stress. Alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine all act as vasoconstrictors. They cause your blood vessels to tighten. And that means just when your prostate needs gentle open blood flow to recover, you're slamming the doors shut. You're reducing circulation, trapping inflammatory compounds, and interrupting oxygen delivery to tissues that just went through intense contraction and hormone flux. But there's more. A study published in 2022 found that men who smoked cigarettes immediately after intercourse had up to 1.5 times higher levels of C reactive protein, CRP, a marker of systemic inflammation compared to those who didn't. That means you're not just risking local prostate issues, you're increasing your body's overall inflammatory burden. And for aging men, that's a direct highway to chronic disease. So, what's the smarter move? Just avoid these substances for the first 1 to 2 hours after ejaculation. Give your body a window to restore. Then, if you choose to indulge, at least you're doing so with circulation already rebalanced. By now, you're probably starting to see just how many things quietly affect your prostate after ejaculation. But here's the bigger truth: we need to face your prostate at 60 is not the same as it was at 30. And the rules you followed back then, the habits that seem to have no consequences, don't apply anymore. The aging male body brings a whole new set of vulnerabilities, and the prostate sits right at the center of them. Let's start with blood flow. As we age, vascular efficiency drops. The tiny blood vessels that supply your pelvic organs, including the prostate, begin to stiffen. They don't dilate as easily, they don't deliver oxygen and nutrients as quickly. And after a physically demanding event like ejaculation, this means one thing: recovery slows down. The tissue that used to bounce back in minutes may now take hours or longer to return to baseline. And if you repeat the same post-ejaculatory habits day after day, your prostate never truly gets a chance to rest. But blood flow is just one piece of the puzzle. There's also testosterone, your master hormone of repair strength and cellular integrity. After 60, your testosterone levels naturally decline. That's not a flaw, it's biology. But the side effect is profound. Lower testosterone means less anti-inflammatory protection and slower tissue regeneration. So now your prostate is not only getting less oxygen, but also less hormonal support to deal with micro damage, inflammation, and oxidative stress. And then there's something most men completely overlook: the silent accumulation of habits. Decades of sitting at desks, long drives, poor pelvic mobility, low hydration, lack of stretching, minimal sexual recovery. These things compound over time. They form what I call a prostatic debt, tiny injuries or irritations that were never fully healed. Like interest building on a credit card, these debts don't just disappear. They show up later as prostate congestion, enlargement, or unexplained discomfort. Want proof? Imaging and clinical studies reveal that between 50 to 60% of men over 60 already show signs of pelvic venous congestion or low-grade prostate enlargement without even having symptoms. That means half the men walking around today are carrying hidden inflammation and tissue changes in a gland they never think about until it's too late. Now let me paint a comparison you won't forget. Imagine two men, 130, 160, both ejaculate. The younger man's prostate is richly vascularized, testosterone is flowing, tissues are elastic, recovery is almost automatic. But the older man, his circulation is slower. Hormones are down, tissues are stiffer, and those tiny blood vessels struggle to clear the leftover byproducts. If he then sits down, drinks coffee, or takes a cold shower, his body doesn't bounce back. It holds on to that congestion. It becomes his new baseline. And over time, that baseline becomes dysfunction. This isn't fear-mongering, it's physiology. And once you understand how much your prostate depends on circulation, hormone balance, and post-ejaculatory care, you stop brushing it off. You stop assuming the occasional urgency or pressure is just part of aging. Because the truth is, aging doesn't destroy the prostate. Neglect does. Now that we understand how fragile the prostate becomes with age and how easily everyday habits can interfere with its recovery, the question becomes clear. What should you do after ejaculation to actually protect your prostate? What are the small science-backed steps that can make a real difference starting tonight? Let's begin with The simplest, most overlooked move of all, lying on your side and breathing deeply for 3 to 5 minutes. That's it. No equipment, no stretching, no fancy routine, just your body, your breath, and gravity doing the work. Why does this matter? Because after ejaculation, your pelvic region is under both internal and external tension. Internal from the contractions and fluid shifts, external from posture and pressure. Lying on your back or sitting upright only maintains that tension, but lying on your side gently takes the weight off your pelvic floor, reduces direct compression on your prostate, and allows venous blood to drain more freely. Add to that some slow, steady diaphragmatic breathing, and now you're signaling your nervous system to switch from fight or flight to rest and restore. As many physical therapists specializing in men's pelvic health will tell you, this simple position can reduce pelvic congestion and support post-ejaculatory recovery better than any medication ever could. 3 to 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Once you've settled into that rest window, the next smart move is even more powerful than most people realize. Drink something warm, not just for comfort, but to actively support your prostate's ability to flush out inflammatory compounds. We're talking about natural anti-inflammatory alkaline fluids, like warm water with lemon ginger tea or coconut water warmed to body temperature. These beverages not only help hydrate the tissues, but also support the liver and kidneys in clearing waste. At the same time, they gently promote circulation without triggering a stress response. But here's the catch: avoid stimulants. This is not the time for coffee, black tea, or alcohol. All of those constrict blood vessels and delay healing. Your goal is to calm the system, not jolt it awake. Think of it this way: you wouldn't pour gasoline into a cooling engine. Give your body what it needs, a warm, soothing rinse from the inside out. Then when you feel grounded again, it's time to move gently but intentionally. A short 5-minute walk around the room or backyard is more than enough. Or better yet, try one of 3 simple pelvic stretches that men over 60 can do without strain. First, the happy baby pose, lying on your back knees, bent gently rocking side to side. This opens up the pelvic floor and relieves pressure on the perineum. Second, the seated butterfly, stretch feet together, knees falling outward, breathing into the hips. And third, the cat-cow flow, on hands and knees, slowly arching and rounding your back to mobilize the spine and sacrum. These movements aren't just about flexibility, they stimulate blood flow, encourage lymphatic drainage, and help remove the buildup of congestion that leads to that heavy, dragging sensation many men describe after ejaculation. You don't need to be flexible, you just need to move. Your prostate is not designed to recover in stillness. It needs circulation. These moves are your roadmap. And finally, here's a habit that's not physical, but absolutely critical. Start tracking how you feel after ejaculation. Keep a small notebook or notes app on your phone. Log the time of day, what you did afterward, how you felt 30 minutes later, and whether any symptoms, urgency, burning pressure, or fatigue showed up within a few hours. This is your personal prostate journal. Over time, patterns will emerge. You'll start to notice which actions help you recover and which ones leave you feeling off. And if you ever need to speak with a doctor, you'll have more than vague complaints, you'll have data. That data is gold. It helps your healthcare provider spot trends, identify early warning signs, and create a plan tailored to your real-life experience. You'll no longer be guessing, you'll be guiding. So now you know. The truth is, prostate issues rarely hit all at once. They creep in slowly, one missed signal, one repeated habit, one ignored twinge at a time. And by the time most men realize something's wrong, they're already waking up 3 or 4 times a night, struggling to empty their bladder or feeling a dull ache that won't go away. But it doesn't have to get that far. What if prevention didn't mean pills or surgery, but simply changing what you do in the 10 minutes after ejaculation? That's it. No medical degree required, no radical life overhaul. Just a few thoughtful adjustments to how you treat your body when it's most vulnerable. You can start reclaiming your prostate health, not next year, not next decade, but tonight. And listen, if you found yourself nodding along, if you recognized even one of the 5 mistakes we talked about, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the share button. Text this video to a friend, a brother, someone you care about. Because maybe they're struggling too, but they're too embarrassed to ask. Maybe your simple act of sharing could save someone you love from years of discomfort, missed sleep, or worse. Or And I want to hear from you. Comment okay in the comments if any of this hit home. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you never miss the kind of content that helps you live stronger, longer, and pain-free, one habit at a time. Let's finish with this. Ejaculation is not the problem. In fact, it's a sign your body still works, that your intimacy still matters, that your life has connection and joy. The danger is not in the moment, it's in what you do after. And nobody tells men this. Nobody teaches us that the afterglow is actually a medical moment, but now you know better. And when you know better, you do better. You don't have to accept poor sleep pressure, urgency, or fear as part of growing older. You don't have to give up a satisfying sex life. You don't have to wait until you're on medication or being told surgery is the only way. You can start protecting your prostate today by making better choices after every release. So here's my final message to you. Your prostate is listening even when you're not. Treat it with respect. Give it the recovery it deserves. And you'll gain not just comfort, but confidence and freedom as a man. Stay strong. Stay curious. And I'll see you in the next video.